and welcome to Between the Lines. I'm Wendy Maness. I'm filling in for Alan Beauchamp tonight. He'll be back with you soon. We have a fun show for you tonight, and I cannot wait to talk about it because it's one of my favorite things. And I think I say that every time. It's one of my favorite things, but when it's one of my favorite things, I'm able to talk about it and enjoy what I'm talking about and teach you about things around Clinton, Anderson County, and Roane County, wherever they're coming from. And I do want to thank our sponsors tonight. We have Oak Ridge Utility District, Daniel Forrester, IB3 Solutions, and then we have the Fan Barn. So thank you so much for helping us out. And I want to introduce you to someone right now. This is Callie Archer.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm excited because Callie, she is the president of Junior Achievement in Anderson County, and their office is in Clinton, right next to Anderson County High School. And so we're going to tell you everything they're doing, and they literally are changing the future. I mean, you're impacting every kid that I meet anyway.
Well, that's our goal anyway. So it takes a lot of people doing a lot of different things. So we're really excited to be able to kind of share that message today.
Yes. So we're going to share that with you. And then a lot of people, they don't even know what Junior Achievement does or that it even exists here in Anderson County. So we want to give you that information. So if you want to get involved or come check us out sometime, you will be able to. And I say us because that is also where I work.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know just about as much as I do about it, potentially. So you haven't been around quite as long. But,
right. But I'm learning quick. And so, Callie, how did you end up in East Tennessee?
Sure. So I'm from Western North Carolina, but I met my husband, moved over here, and I've been working for Junior Achievement now going on 15 years.
Oh, wow.
It feels like it's flown by, but I think kind of to your point, every day I get up, I'm motivated because I love, just youth development, education. I think these are kids that we want to be successful and in our communities, and we have to teach them that. And so, for a lot of families in East Tennessee, parents are working hard. They're doing everything they can. Schools and teachers are doing everything they can. And Junior Achievement comes in and kind of helps fill some of those gaps that maybe parents don't know how to educate their kids on certain topics. And teachers want our supplemental programs to help kind of do some of those things that will help kids be prepared for the workforce and get excited about their future.
And that's one thing that we do see every time they walk into BizTown. And BizTown is a big part of Junior Achievement. So you may have heard about BizTown. And I think this year we will have serviced 10,500 children, somewhere around that number. And so today we had almost 150 children come in, and their eyes just light up immediately when they come in and see everything that BizTown has to offer. And so we'll get into that in just a little bit, but just seeing them excited about learning, that is a huge part of what I love seeing.
Yeah. Well, in Junior Achievement nationally, so we're a national organization, but we really focus here, our office focuses here on 17 counties in East Tennessee, and we serve about 25,000 kids a year so far. So we want to serve more. That's about 12% of our student population here, but we feel like we have a lot more to do and a lot of programs that we could roll out with the right support and, as we make relationships with schools. But yeah, we love the kids coming in. One of our platforms is really that hands-on learning component. So it's not just lecture, vocabulary, things like that. Those are components also, but then how do you put those skills to work and how do you practice them? And so when the kids get to do that, it just makes a lot of light bulbs go off for them. So exactly like you said, they're excited, they get to try something. Some of the things that I love when kids say, they're like, when we're talking about budgeting, they're like, man, being an adult is hard. Or, I had a kid come up and he had a debit card and he said, I have a debit card. I'm a real man today. So it's just fun to get to see them kind of start to role play in some of those things and see themselves working and having these great careers here with so many great companies that we have here in our region. And then thinking about how they're going to get there.
Right. Now, you said you've been there 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
How have you seen the one here in Anderson County grow in that 15 years?
So tremendously. So student reach, is one of our number one ways that we measure success. But so we've doubled our student reach in the time that I've been there. When I came on board, we had just built the BizTown facility, and that's the Hollingsworth Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership there in front of Anderson County High School. We share a campus with them. Again, we are a great partner in a lot of different educational initiatives. So we share that campus, and double the student reach. But then I think the impact stories are what I love. The kids that come back and tell us, hey, when I was here, I was the bank president in BizTown in the 5th grade, and now I'm going to UT and I'm studying finance because that really sparked something in me. I think that's ultimately why we do what we do, and why you've quickly learned a lot about it, fallen in love with this program, because it is when you see those success stories, and not only when they're in 5th grade, but then as you start seeing them come full circle.
Right. And because I remember talking to you, and you were talking about, you started out as working in BizTown, just like I'm doing now, and now you're the president, and it's like, you have grown in yourself.
I say I just keep showing up. They can't get rid of me now. No.
Well, I think that's a big thing of what Junior Achievement teaches, is that, if things are hard, you just got to keep working and something will change. And I think that's what I love most about BizTown, because so let me explain to you what BizTown is. So you walk into our facility, and there are shops everywhere. You have a bank, you have ORNL that's right there, Y12 has a space, Clayton Homes has a space, and you have all these retail shops. They have jobs to do that they prepare for in the classroom. The teacher teaches 4 weeks worth of lessons. They learn about writing checks. They learn about debit cards. They learn about direct deposits. There's so much that goes into what they learn. And so a lot of, when we tell teachers, we're like, we know this is a lot, but once they get there, they're really going to get it. And so we go through the whole opening meeting. They go to their jobs, and within about 45 minutes, those kids are running the entire city. We have a mayor, we have city hall, and it's so fun because they are learning to work as a team. They're learning that things don't always go as planned, and sometimes you have to shift gears and make it happen. They're getting paid real BizTown money. They're getting paid direct deposits, and so by the time they leave, we give them certificates about citizens of the day. So we teach citizenship, and we want to teach them everything we can about adult life. And we hear things like, man, no wonder my parents are tired when they get home, because they are working. They're working a 5-hour day when they get there, and it's just really cool to see them grow. And I know that when Emily and Ethan came, I went as a chaperone. Yeah. And Emily, still to this day, says that was her favorite thing that she ever did in school.
Yay.
Her
We
favorite
love to hear
field trip.
that.
Yeah, and she still remembers that she was working at Sweet Pea's Boutique.
She probably remembers how much money she made and everything, because
Right.
again, it's like that, like you said, that real learning lab experience. The kids come in, they get to take on all these roles and responsibilities, and they're active participants, because again, you think about the way society sometimes treats kids, and it's like, okay, we're teaching them things, but it's like, do this, do what I say, fill out this, worksheet, etc. Which again, there's a time and a place for all of those things. But again, when the kid gets to flip that switch and be very active in that learning and try some things that maybe don't work.
Right.
And kind of have that entrepreneurial mindset of like, okay, well, I want to do this. This is the outcome I want. Maybe that didn't happen the way I wanted to. I'm going to try something different. And they're in a safe environment where they can and try some things, and ultimately we set them up for success.
Right. And then they get to go shopping and spend their money. And it's really fun to watch them look at their checkbook, see how much money they have, and then go out and spend it just like they would if they were an adult going to buy stuff. And I love that we allow them to make mistakes, because then they figure out how to fix those mistakes. And I think that's a very important part of learning and in life in general.
Agreed. Well, and I love that they get to spend their hard-earned BizTown money. We tell them, we say, we're going to ask you to do something most adults probably won't tell you to do, but that is to spend all of your money today, because BizTown money is only negotiable here in BizTown. However, we do have a true little mini economy. So if they have their BizTown money, cash or debit card or check, then they can go out and make purchasing decisions. I love that for a lot of reasons. One, that's just giving them that ownership over decision making and good practice with that. But then it also, I think, it just is that immediate reward for them working hard and seeing like, okay, if I work hard, I earn my paycheck, then I get to make some decisions. They've already, in the BizTown simulation of running a town for a day, as soon as they get paid, they go ahead and open up their savings account. So we tell them that's the first thing you want to do. That's kind of one of our principles at Junior Achievement is good financial literacy. So put some money into your savings account, and then they earn that money, and then we want them to have the opportunity to make those purchasing decisions. And so for a lot of our students in East Tennessee, that is one of the, I'm going to say, the sense of pride and the sense, like, in the confidence that you see start to change in those moments is one of my favorite things, because for a lot of them, we have 4 of the 9 persistent poverty counties that we work with, and so they may not have gotten to have that experience before. And so when we're able to show them that, they're able to do that in BizTown, they're like, oh, I can go out, I can have this great job at one of these fantastic companies, and then I get to decide how I spend my money. So I just love that immediate reinforcing of that good behavior and, good experience.
Right. And they say the funniest things, because today at the end we had one little boy that was working in City Hall. He came up to me. He's like, I need to know, like, who do I need to talk to get my fines paid? Because if not, I'm going to have to sue somebody. I was like, it's not that serious. It's okay. But they really do come up with the funniest thing. Like, he needed his fines paid before he ended the day. So they do take their jobs very seriously. Yeah. And we have, I think my favorite place is Phillips and Jordan. And the kids come out, they build this reservoir out of blocks, and then we have a big to-do about how they have provided the whole BizTown facility with water. Yeah. And it really teaches them things that they may not learn in the classroom, or maybe they learn but they don't retain. Yeah. And so they're getting a hands-on experience when it comes to all of these things.
Well, and I think, that shop also is kind of a testament to some of the folks we have involved. So the Phillips and Jordan, that company, and then Stowers Caterpillar partner together for that, because they're like, how can we showcase the in-demand jobs that we have in our industry? And so they want to go ahead and be showing kids in 5th grade those opportunities, and then they also, they've got a CEO and a CFO and all kinds of project managers and engineers in there as well. So again, it's not just one type of job in contracting and construction. It just opens these kids' eyes to a lot of different opportunities. And I also love that in BizTown there's 150 different jobs, and they vary in skill and strengths that are needed to be successful, whether that's, reading and math and, different levels of that. So, I love that, just like society, there are places where every single person can be successful. So how do we, help kids find where their skills and aptitudes really fit in the best?
Right. And then by the time they leave, they have done their job, they've gone shopping, and then we remind them that, they can't wait for an opportunity to come to them. They have to go to that opportunity. If they think of something, they need to get to it right then. And you can just see all of the hope in their face and just the smiles on it's just such a sweet experience. It's really hard to explain it unless you see it. And, yeah, it's really great. So we're going to continue to talk about junior achievement and what we have to offer there, and we're going to be right back.
Daniel Forrester has been recognized as one of East Tennessee's leading attorneys for nearly 2 decades. Civil disputes, criminal defense, divorces, and juvenile custody cases are all part of an impressive resume. Daniel's legal experience also includes representing clients in local, state, and federal courts. A husband and a father, Daniel is a Rule 31 certified mediator who has represented hundreds of families in Chancery Court. Call Daniel Forrester Law Office at 865-457-7900 for a free consultation.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
Hello, I'm District Attorney General Dave Clark. My fellow DAs and I successfully fought for new elder abuse laws and procedures that have police departments and agencies using improved tools to protect our seniors. Victims of elder abuse are often unable to recognize or report abuse themselves. They need your voice. If you suspect abuse, contact local law enforcement or adult protective services. Let's work together to protect our seniors.
When should you get tested for COVID-19? You have symptoms of COVID-19, such as runny nose, congestion, sore throat, fever, cough, shortness of breath, muscle pain, headache, chills, or loss of taste or smell. Current testing recommendations say everyone should get tested immediately if they have symptoms of COVID-19. If you have symptoms, be sure to follow recommendations about how long to stay home and away from others. For more information, visit our If You Are Sick or Test Positive webpage.
In East Tennessee, winter can be a wild ride of constantly changing weather and cold outdoor fun. Warm up with natural gas heat, hot water, cooking, and soft, comfy clothes. More affordable and reliable than electricity, natural gas makes homes cozy and more valuable. Whether you're a contractor or savvy homeowner, switch to natural gas for your primary energy source. Visit us online at orud.org or call today. Oak Ridge Utility District, your affordable energy source.
And we are back with Between the Lines. I am Wendy Maness, and I'm filling in for Alan Beauchamp. He will be back very soon. But I do want to thank our sponsors for helping us out tonight. It's Oak Ridge Utility District, IB3 Solutions, Daniel Forrester Law, and the Fan Barn. Thank you so much for supporting us tonight. And tonight we're talking about junior achievement, and we're here with Callie Archer. And if you missed the first part, we were talking about BizTown. And I love BizTown. That's the department that I work in at Junior Achievement, and I wanted to let all of you know how special this place is, so I brought them on to talk. And Callie had brought up financial literacy, and that is a huge program that we do. Can you tell us a little bit about what we do with that?
Sure. So yeah, like Wendy said, BizTown is kind of our signature program here in the region. We serve about 65% of the fifth graders across the region. So we love having all of those students come through our doors. We work with 22 different school systems from year to year, and so now you get to be a part of all of those relationships. And then we also do have a lot of financial literacy programs that in older and younger grade levels. So a lot of people ask us, like, one more thing about the BizTown thing is, like, a lot of people say, why fifth grade? And I think, it's important because fifth graders are really starting to understand how the world works, and they're old enough to, kind of process how an economy works and how things are interdependent and connected, in a community. And so they're just old enough to do that, but they're still young enough to where they're kind of get into that role play of, like we said, like wearing the hard hats, like building a big foam structure, getting on the radio and being a DJ, all of those things. So that's why we love that age group. And also, they're not that far away from making some really major life decisions for their education. So by the 8th grade, students are really looking at what they want to do in high school. And so the 5th grade is just like a really nice foundation for that. Outside of that, we work with a lot of our school systems in various grade levels. I mean, we have a personal finance curriculum for as young as 2nd grade.
Oh, wow.
You know, so in elementary school, we're talking about those same kind of concepts, but just on their level, where they get a piggy bank, and we're talking about earning money, spending money, saving money, and donating money back to great causes and things in your community. So, you know, we don't think that there's a time that's too early. I mean, we start in kindergarten with some of those concepts and then work our way up. Our middle school and high school, you were just there at the 8th grade career expo that we had in Anderson County, and or the Get Hired event. Sorry, the career expo was a different county. The Get Hired, and they got to draw a card, and it gave them a career and a
budget,
salary,
yeah,
and then they had to build their budget off of their salary. And I remember one of the kids came in and got a card, and he's like, oh man, he's like, teachers make so much money. And then when he started working on the budget, he was like, I only have $750 a month to put towards my housing or something. I don't remember what the number was. And I said, yeah, and that's why you're going to have a roommate,
Yeah, and then he did say, I'm going to have to tell my teacher I'm sorry for giving her a hard time and thinking she made a lot of money.
Yeah. The kids hear $36,000 or whatever it is for a salary, and they're like, oh, like that's so much money. Well, it is if you're in 8th grade and you've never had to pay bills or, do anything. So, but really that's another kind of great point in middle school to start talking about money, saving money, because a lot of those kids are getting very interested in first jobs, potentially looking at cars, car payments, insurance, putting gas in cars, going to the movies, where they're going to need some resources to do those things. So we think financial literacy in middle school is great. And then lastly, in high school, I mean, those kids are getting ready to be out on their own. And, again, in East Tennessee, we're working with a lot of students who are going straight into the workforce, or they're going to school and working while they go to school. So how can we best prepare them to make really good decisions? Things in high school even revolve around our FAFSA, doing a FAFSA for post-secondary education, and, what it looks like to take out loans, or when that's a good thing, like if it's for a home, something that's a longer term investment that you're going to be able to build equity in, versus when it, like a credit card for, socks and blue jeans, that may not be a long-term investment that you may end up paying a lot of money for. So we talk to kids about all those concepts.
So this really teaches them from the 8th grade all the way through high school how to be prepared, so that when they go to college, maybe, I know my generation made a lot of mistakes financially, and we saw the repercussions from that when there was huge crash, because we're buying things that we didn't have money for, but they were loaning it to us. And so this essentially teaches them, hey, buy it if you have the money, take out the loan if you need this loan, but if you can't buy it, don't buy it.
Right.
And so this is preparing them to be successful for the future.
Yeah. Well, and even in 5th grade in BizTown, they take out a business loan to run their business and buy their products and pay their employees. But when they pay it back to the bank, they pay back 5% interest. So, even at that age, we want kids to be aware of what that looks like, and that, borrowing money does have responsibility that comes with it. And that's why we give out all the awards for all the businesses that pay back their loans and things in that setting. But I absolutely love some of our high school financial literacy tools, because, even thinking about return on an investment. Well, if I'm going to go to college or get this kind of training or certificate, and it's going to cost me $20,000, and then I'm going to get out, what is your job, kind of what is that average salary for that industry that you're going to be in? And if it's relatively low, it's going to take you a really, really long time. So if you're going to get out and be making, $25,000 a year, it's going to take you a really long time to pay back loans to go to college or whatever. Tennessee's great because we have Tennessee Promise and Tennessee Achieves, so that's a whole nother segment for you.
Right.
Here. But, I just think teaching kids to think about that, giving them all the, information so that they can process and have more information as they're going into some of those really big decisions. And like I said, I think it's not just on school systems, it's not just on parents. And, that's where we need the community and industry to be along for this, so that we can teach them that.
And I like that when they all came in and we were teaching them about budgeting, and they were looking at some of the different jobs, because we had people come in, like we had a beauty school come in and set up, and then there was IACME came in and set up. So they get to see all these different things that are possible, but we also teach them how to interview when they come in and how to dress for success. And I love that we dress our little mannequin and they're looking at this mannequin to see, hey, what do I need to wear if I go to an interview? Because a lot of people don't know how to dress for an interview.
Yeah, it's hard. So, we've kind of hit on financial literacy and a little bit of work readiness and entrepreneurship, which are our 3 pillars for junior achievement. But the work readiness is probably our most in-demand topic right now. I don't know if anybody's been looking for employees or, staffing issues, but things are tough right now, and part of it is just because the whole workforce shifted over the pandemic and people have reevaluated, but also part of it could be that people are intimidated by going back into the workforce, or whatever it is. And so we focus a lot of our time not only on career exploration, like you were just saying, with looking at all the different career clusters and industries that we have here that have high growth, in-demand jobs, because that's really important too. Like going to school for something that you can make a lot of money in, or that you're passionate about, does not mean that you're going to get a job doing that.
Right.
So one of the things that we do is we try to talk to kids about their skill. Like we do a skills assessment, and it's literally 1 page. This is not complex. Schools do way more in-depth skills and aptitude testing. However, we just do this 1 page. It's like, do you want to work inside? Do you want to work outside? Do you want to work with a group of people, or do you like to work by yourself? Do you want to live and work where you grew up, or do you want to, travel for work or potentially move? Because all of those things factor into what is going to be, opportunities for you.
Right.
And so getting kids to go ahead and be thinking, well, what do I want? What does that look like? And then where does that kind of, guide me to go? Then we do these career fairs, and get hired events where we're really talking about all of those things. One of the things that we're very passionate about, just like you mentioned with the Dress for Success, is those formerly known as soft skills, but now employers are actually saying these are essential skills. They literally are transferable across every industry, whether you know how to dress appropriately, whether you are professional and can work with others, whether you show up on time, are drug-free, all of these things. They're saying actually, everybody needs to know those. We don't care what kind of job that you have. So that's pretty standard. So we spend a lot of time at these teaching specifically 8th grade and older, those concepts, saying we want you to be set up for success in any industry, and these are the things that are going to help you get there. So
for people who might not know what a soft skill is, do you mind explaining that for them?
Sure. It is just kind of what I, was describing. It's those things that are not a technical skill. So they're not going to help you. Well, actually, I do think they help you get jobs, but they're not going to be things that check a lot of skill boxes on a job application. However, if you show up and you're 30 minutes late to your interview, you're dressed sloppy, you haven't brushed your hair, and you chew gum the whole time, and you use some cuss words or something in an interview. It's just those kind of things. That's the common sense, the knowing your surroundings, that emotional intelligence kind of component almost. And so how do we teach more kids those things? And I don't ever, some people are like, that should just be common sense. But I don't think it is common sense. That's not how you interact with a lot of your family members.
Right.
But knowing that, okay, when I go into these settings, especially when I'm trying to impress somebody, trying to make sure that they know that I'm going to be trustworthy and show up and do the things that I'm supposed to do, like, how do you kind of have that all packaged together? And so those would be those soft skills. And like I said, now industry is referring to those as essential skills and really trying to push those home because they're more in demand than some technical skills at this point.
Right. Because some of the soft skills, they're just not automatic, like having good confidence. Because when you have confidence in yourself, then you're able to be a leader, or you're able to step out and try things that you never would have tried before. And that, I mean, I think confidence is huge. And I think there's a lot of children who lack that confidence just because maybe they're afraid to try something new, or they're afraid to go after something they really want because they don't want to disappoint someone in their life. And so I was really amazed at how, when you ask them those questions, they often don't know what their strongest soft skill is.
Right. They really don't. Well, or how to talk about themselves.
Right.
One of the stations we do at that event is the elevator pitch. Mm-hmm. And so what's the number one interview question? And it's, besides what's your name, but the number one interview question ever asked is, tell me about yourself. Well, if you go in and you're like, I've been thinking about the company, I've been thinking about all this, the technical skills that I have that are going to help me be successful, I haven't thought one thing about, myself and how I'm going to fit into this role. So we ask the kids that, and then we even give them prizes if they'll get up and do it in front of a group. And but they shake hands. We say, tell us about yourself, and the kids are like, here's my plans after high school. I'm really hardworking. I'm motivated. I'm captain of my football team, or whatever it is that they say. And tell us a few little things about themselves, and then we teach them to ask a question at the end of that. So, how do you, or what do you think about success in the workplace, and what does that look like here? Or, so again, giving them that confidence to go in and at least start the conversation, because once the conversation starts, then they're probably going to be okay.
And that is a huge, it's very nerve-wracking to go into a new company. I know I did this just in December with you guys.
We are pretty scared.
And I mean, I knew of you, but I didn't know you, and I had to make sure that you knew who I was. And so, you asked me that question, tell me about yourself. And you have to sit there and talk about yourself, but it is well, I don't want to brag on myself, but you should use that time to tell them your strongest things about yourself, because I mean, you have to pretty much sell yourself.
Right.
And
you're not going to do it. Who is?
Right. And I think a lot of kids, they think, oh, I can't talk about, a lot of people in general think that they shouldn't talk about themselves, but I mean, you are the product. Yeah. And if you're not going to talk about yourself, who is going to talk about you? But right now, we're going to take a break and let our sponsors talk about themselves. We'll be right back.
Daniel Forrester has been recognized as one of East Tennessee's leading attorneys for nearly 2 decades. Civil disputes, criminal defense, divorces, and juvenile custody cases are all part of an impressive resume. Daniel's legal experience also includes representing clients in local, state, and federal courts. A husband and a father, Daniel is a Rule 31 certified mediator who has represented hundreds of families in Chancery Court. Call Daniel Forrester Law Office at 865-457-7900 for a free consultation.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference, so we can all continue to move forward together.
In East Tennessee, winter can be a wild ride of constantly changing weather and cold outdoor fun. Warm up with natural gas heat, hot water, cooking, and soft, comfy clothes. More affordable and reliable than electricity, natural gas makes homes cozy and more valuable. Whether you're a contractor or savvy homeowner, switch to natural gas for your primary energy source. Visit us online at orud.org or call today. Oak Ridge Utility District, your affordable energy source.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Hello, I'm District Attorney General Dave Clark. My fellow DAs and I successfully fought for new elder abuse laws and procedures that have police departments and agencies using improved tools to protect our seniors. Victims of elder abuse are often unable to recognize or report abuse themselves. They need your voice. If you suspect abuse, contact local law enforcement or adult protective services. Let's work together to protect our seniors.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. I'm Wendy Maness. I'm filling in for Alan Beauchamp. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors, IB3 Solutions, Daniel Forrester Law. We have Oak Ridge Utility District and Fan Barn. Thank you so much for sponsoring us tonight. And I am talking to Callie Archer, who is the president of Junior Achievement. We've been talking about everything we do, from BizTown to financial literacy to career readiness, and we're just going to keep it going because we do a lot at Junior Achievement, and we really make an impact on East Tennessee, and so I'm happy to share that with you. But she was talking about career readiness, and we were talking about how we teach kids interview questions so that they know how to go into an interview, know how to talk about themselves, have the confidence to talk about themselves. And so we were talking about that, but you know what is one of my favorite things? I don't even get to participate in it. I just get to hear about it, is the career program that we have at the high schools.
Yes.
And I think they have to do pretty much all of that, like interview, write a business plan. Can you tell them what they have to do? Because it's pretty amazing.
So we have a couple different programs that we do across the region, and like I said, the kind of the getting hired and those tools where you're talking about resumes and interview skills like that. I love that program. I also love one of the other things that I think just gives kids tremendous success, or like information so that they can go out and be successful, is our JA Company program. And the kids actually they kind of have to, well, first of all, they come up with a business idea. Second of all, they elect officers and get into leadership roles. So kids get to develop, some of them kind of are working the room. They're playing the politics of the classroom, trying to get to be president of their company. And then they actually get to pitch their product to a team of investors, and they're approved. We don't tell them that they're gonna get approved, but they typically get approved for up to $500 in real money, and our team is along for the ride, and we help them get their products, market their products. They do a pop-up shop, or they do kind of a product launch. They do marketing in the schools. So they kind of get a crash course in like all those business skills that I wish I had when I was in high school.
Right.
And it's just a really fun, again, hands-on learning, real money, real products, real bank account, all the things, real customers, and they're like, now we've got too many products. What if we do a discount? What if we do a coupon? What if we, all these things? What if we go back to some of our top customers, see if they want any more? So kids are learning some of those sales tactics when they're in high school. So I love that program. And that one we don't reach as many students with, but we do a lot of that here in Oak Ridge and across Anderson County. So it's just a really neat program.
Now, last year, am I mistaken, or last semester, wasn't Oak Ridge like one of the top companies?
I think
Was
they
it?
were top. Yeah, we do a top profit over the course of the year. So I think Oak Ridge did have one of those companies that was very successful.
When you told me about that company, when I had gone in for my interview and you were telling me all about it, I was like, that sounds so much fun, because it teaches them, hey, I have to have this much money, then I have to pay back my loan, then I have to pay the taxes on it. But what I was just thinking as we were sitting here is, I wonder how many of those children came to BizTown and were in the entrepreneurial part of BizTown, because we also have an entrepreneurial section there where they have to like come up with a business, and they have to do the exact same thing, only it's with BizTown money. And so it sort of comes full circle when you think about it.
I know, and I love the entrepreneurship piece in BizTown. Like you said, they're like coming up with new money-making ideas. One of the questions that we get, because I often use the statistic that about 50% of the kids that come through BizTown and vote while they're there and do, exercising their right as BizTown citizens to vote, through that process, they tell us about 50% say that it made them think about owning their own business one day. So that's a really outstanding outcome for that. However, people say, well, what if, not everybody can be an entrepreneur? And we're like, that's absolutely right. But that is like where job creation comes from. It's never going to hurt you. That's another one of those transferable skills. If you have that entrepreneurial mindset, to me, that's really just more thinking about like the critical thinking, problem solving, continuous improvement kind of mindset. And I think that it's, most industries, that's what they're looking for, because if you can make a better way of doing things, you can save money, you can, be more productive, etc. All of those great things come from having that entrepreneurial mindset, which, again, so it's not just we think they're all going to go out and start their own business, but we just want them to have that mindset going from a young age.
And I think that's very important, because I don't really we own a business in audio, but I don't like to run the business. I let Jonathan do that. But I think about all of us that work at Junior Achievement, and we all have that entrepreneurial mindset, because we're always coming up with new ways to do things. How can we improve this? How can we change this process to make it better? And then working as a team to make it happen. And it's a very important skill. Even in my last job, you had to do that. And teaching these kids how to do it early is a good thing, because I feel like I had to go to the school of hard knocks to learn a lot of what I know.
And we're like, here it is. Like, let's just show these kids how to do it. Set them up for success. So.
And they will. They'll carry it on throughout their whole lives. Even if they don't remember it right off, they will be like, oh, yeah, I remember when I did this.
Yeah.
And I rode to Claiborne County with Taylor, and they were going to make sweatshirts. And so they came up with the business plan. It got approved. They came up with the design, and then they made their order for their T-shirts, or sweatshirts, actually. And it was a school sweatshirt. And then I got to see it this week. And so, seeing it all come to life, and how they made their product from just this idea in their head, it was really amazing. That's the first time I've gotten to see that.
Yeah, it's neat to see that. And like you said, they pay off the loan at the end of the semester. And, some of them are eligible for awards and for top profit and different things like that. So we try to have some competition in there.
Right.
But I think, really all of these things are going to help them be successful in the workplace. I think some of the tips for anybody that's out there job hunting right now, one of the things that I heard recently, one of the statistics or kind of stats that's going around right now, is that in the next 10 years, the skill of learning new information is actually going to be the number one skill that employers are looking for. Wow. So things are changing so rapidly in our workforce that just really that ability to learn and implement new things is going to be one of the top things. So I think having that critical thinking kind of approach to everything, communication skills, because again, if you're learning something new, teaching someone something new, those are going to be really important. Collaboration, that's something that I think most organizations that are, especially growing organizations, they're looking for team members who can come in and collaborate, whether that's with each other, customers, vendors, etc. I I do think creativity, because as the world's changing and as we're going to things that I don't even understand sometimes, like in artificial intelligence and things like that, that's really that out of the box thinking. And so how can we continue to teach kids how to be all those things, and while having their job hunting tools updated, not only a resume, a cover letter, which are things that a lot of working adults have had in place, and the information that they need on a job application, but now those digital profiles are something that are equally as important, meaning, really any kind of digital profile, but specifically in the work world, LinkedIn. We talk to high school students about the importance of having a LinkedIn profile, because when they get to college or if they're going straight into the workforce, those are going to be areas where employers are looking for new candidates all the time. So I would say we teach that to high school students as they're kind of looking for their next steps, but I would say those are great things for anybody that's looking for a job.
I agree. That's how I found my job. It's like I reached out on LinkedIn, and I didn't realize how important LinkedIn was until I decided, hey, I'm going to start looking for a new job. What are the best ways to do that? Because you have Indeed, and Indeed, there's a bunch of job postings, but sometimes you get those bots on there, and so it just goes out into space and you get spammed. But LinkedIn, you can connect with people, you form a network, and then you can just talk and say, hey, or you can even do a job search. You can say, I'm looking for a job in this area, and it'll bring up everyone that's hiring, and it's really an amazing tool. I didn't realize how great it was until I started looking.
And got a job that way.
And so teaching children and social media, like having a digital footprint is super important, but keeping it clean is even is even more important. So when you're teaching them these things of, hey, your social media matters, because your employer will look at your social media, and then they start to think about, oh, maybe I shouldn't post all of this stuff on that I think. We can't always post what we think, because employers look.
Yeah. Oh, I look at pictures. I look to see who we have in common, who, if I'm actually hiring. So it's just, that's turned into kind of a job hunting tool, or I don't know. So yeah, just keeping that clean. Another thing that I think is really great we teach in high school is kind of phone etiquette. So, if you're in a meeting or if you're having a conversation, not to be scrolling on your phone or looking down, how do you make sure? And then phone usage in the workplace has become just an issue, or a big issue in a lot of industries. And obviously for a lot of jobs, you're talking about safety, you're talking about things like that can be compromised. And then in a lot of jobs, you're just talking about loss of productivity. So, but kind of talking to students about that, hey, this is, even if you're doing work-related things on your phone, sometimes it could be perceived, so just being aware of how much you're doing that, especially on the job.
That's really good advice for anybody.
For anybody.
Hey,
I try and keep myself in check with that,
I understand. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Daniel Forrester has been recognized as one of East Tennessee's leading attorneys for nearly 2 decades. Civil disputes, criminal defense, divorces, and juvenile custody cases are all part of an impressive resume. Daniel's legal experience also includes representing clients in local, state, and federal courts. A husband and a father, Daniel is a Rule 31 certified mediator who has represented hundreds of families in Chancery Court. Call Daniel Forrester Law Office at 865-457-7900 for a free consultation.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
Hello, I'm District Attorney General Dave Clark. My fellow DAs and I successfully fought for new elder abuse laws and procedures that have police departments and agencies using improved tools to protect our seniors. Victims of elder abuse are often unable to recognize or report abuse themselves. They need your voice. If you suspect abuse, contact local law enforcement or adult protective services. Let's work together to protect our seniors.
When should you get tested for COVID-19? You have symptoms of COVID-19, such as runny nose, congestion, sore throat, fever, cough, shortness of breath, muscle pain, headache, chills, or loss of taste or smell. Current testing recommendations say everyone should get tested immediately if they have symptoms of COVID-19. If you have symptoms, be sure to follow recommendations about how long to stay home and away from others. For more information, visit our If You Are Sick or Test Positive webpage.
In East Tennessee, winter can be a wild ride of constantly changing weather and cold outdoor fun. Warm up with natural gas heat, hot water, cooking, and soft, comfy clothes. More affordable and reliable than electricity, natural gas makes homes cozy and more valuable. Whether you're a contractor or savvy homeowner, switch to natural gas for your primary energy source. Visit us online at orud.org or call today. Oak Ridge Utility District, your affordable energy source.
Welcome back. I am Wendy Maness, and I'm here with Callie Archer on Between the Lines. We have been talking about junior achievement, and we've told you everything, well, not everything, but a lot of what junior achievement has to offer, and we are going to continue that conversation. Because they are nonprofit. Junior Achievement is nonprofit. They have been around. I'm going to let Callie tell you how long they've been around, because when you first started, you said you had to learn the history of everything about Junior Achievement, right?
Well, and they started back in 1919. I was not actually around then. Although some days it feels like I've been there for 100 plus years. Nationally, we were founded by a group of business people who said, we really need our young people to learn how to run a business. That was really it. So that company program that I talked about that gives them kind of that crash course in understanding how the decision-making process and running a business goes. Then fast forward to 1969, that was when we actually came to East Tennessee, and we were Junior Achievement of the greater Knoxville area for a long time, and then eventually we became Junior Achievement of East Tennessee, and we serve a 17 county service area and have been kind of making some great inroads there for the past, I can't do math right now, but 50 plus years. And then, our facility was built in about 16 years ago, and so we've been serving kids through that and with our signature BizTown program for the past 15, 16 years. So I have been around for the majority of that, but not since 1919.
Not since 1919. I don't think any of us have been around since then.
No.
I did tell you my grandmother was 14, and you were like, what?
I know.
She was born in 1905, so it's
crazy.
Amazing. So she was around when Junior Achievement first started. But we are nonprofit, and so can you tell people kind of how do we get our funding?
Sure.
At Junior Achievement?
Again, like we said, it's the school systems, they're doing so much to educate our students and prepare them, and industry is over here and they're looking for these great people to come out, graduate from high school, college, and come and work for them. And we kind of are in that middle section, and so really we are a partnership between education. We do have a lot of schools that pay for certain services and curriculums and programs that we do. The vast majority of our funding, though, comes from grants, foundations, and corporate gifts. And so, like in BizTown, there's shop sponsors, or companies sponsor a whole day to come to BizTown for $2,500, or various things like that. So we have a lot of different sponsorship opportunities. We also have our East Tennessee Business Hall of Fame coming up. That is kind of our most that's our largest fundraising event, and that is where we honor kind of the who's who in the business community. This is a Lifetime Achievement Award. We have over 100 honorees. We've got a lot of notable people probably one of our most notable honorees, past honorees, was Dolly Parton. So she was honored for her business success. And so, again, this year we've got 3 great honorees, and we're really excited to have that event coming up on April 27th.
And you said you were sitting at lunch one day, and you said that Dolly is a huge supporter of junior achievement. Like, she loves what we do there.
Yeah, literacy is kind of her pet project. However, she has been involved in our organization over the years and done some videos for the Hall of Fame and some congratulatory things. And so she stayed involved as a past laureate a little bit. So that's, her time is spread thin. So
Right.
we'll take whatever we can get, though.
Right, and I missed her being inducted into the Hall of Fame. I bet that was amazing.
It actually was before my time at Junior Achievement. So
you missed it too.
I did.
We did see the video though.
Yes.
And it was I remember her like walking on the stage, but it was pretty small compared to the way the Hall of Fame is now.
Yeah, in that case, they were pretty, they had a pretty tight group that did it, that got to attend, and it was over in Sevier County. So this year's event is going to be at the Press Room in North Knoxville, which is one of my favorite venues. We'll have about 350 business leaders, community leaders who are going to come together to honor some folks.
Oh, that'll be a lot of fun.
And then, like I said, all of those funds go to fund our programs. So if you liked what you heard today, we need support across the board.
Right. And volunteers. Volunteers are super important to what Junior Achievement does. And I know there's a lot of people who they're always looking to get involved in something. And Taylor and I were like, just standing in the hallway while the students had just come in. We were getting everything ready, and someone came in selling chocolate from one of the schools. And she was even curious. She was like, how can I be involved here? Because she worked with the Boys and Girls Club, but she wanted to do something with Junior Achievement.
Yeah.
And we're always looking for volunteers. We have volunteers that come into BizTown. We have volunteers that go into the schools to help with those programs as well. And how can someone become involved in helping be a volunteer?
Sure. Well, you can check out all of the programs. We've covered a lot of ground tonight.
We
have. You can kind of check out all of our programs on JAEastTennessee, all spelled out, .org. And so that's our website. There's information about the Hall of Fame on there as well, but all of our programs, volunteer links to get registered. And typically we get a volunteer registered. We kind of chat with them to see what their skills, interests, like what area they're in, because like I said, we have a pretty big territory, and then we wait for that perfect volunteer opportunity to come up, that we plug you in with. So, and then we train you, we provide all the materials, everything is turnkey, ready to go, which is why I think so many educators do enjoy our materials. And the volunteers, same thing, they follow a script, they're able to add in some of the things that they want to really focus on, but we give them a great outline and great starting points so that they can go in and make an impact. And I can assure you, the kids will remember your name, your company, whatever you do 10 times more than they'll probably remember Junior Achievement, just because when caring adults invest in our young people, that's when really amazing things can happen.
Yeah, and the volunteers, just my short time of being there, I've noticed that by the time they leave BizTown, their whole world has changed, because they do see these kids coming in and they realize that them taking a little bit of time to volunteer and help them accomplish their goals has also made the volunteer grow in themselves. And we have people that are just, stay-at-home moms or dads, they come in and volunteer. And then also we have corporate volunteers. Yeah. And they'll come in, spend the whole day, or they'll go into the school and help teach a lesson. Yeah. And I'm really excited about maybe getting to go in and teach a lesson and helping out with some of those programs next semester, because I've heard great things about that. But there's just a lot that we do, but I do think, with us talking about the whole job situation, there's a lot of people who don't have these skills, and to prepare for the students now to possess those skills as they go out into the world, that's extremely important. Can you imagine how our job force could change in 20 years?
Right. And So the more money, the more resources, the more volunteers we have, the more we'll be able to do. I think the number one thing that people say to me across the board when they see BizTown, when they go into the classroom, they say, I wish I'd had this opportunity when I was growing up. And I think that that's where I get even more passionate about it. I'm like, how do we make sure that this happens for all these kids so they're not saying that, you know?
Right. And I said the same thing. My first time being a chaperone at BizTown is I wish I had had this experience, because I've talked about it before, but I grew up in a tiny town. I didn't have a lot of things that I could do, and my parents and my teachers did the best they could, which prepared me for the future. But had I had these resources, I don't know what I would have done. I mean, I probably would have done so much more, but you can't look back on it now. You can only help the future to gain these skills. And I always say, you know, you shouldn't hold on to regrets, because then you're like looking back. You should always be looking forward, which is what Junior Achievement does. It's always looking forward to those students right now. And
Come invest in the future with us.
Right.
We'd love to have you.
And I thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking about Junior Achievement. And
Thank you.
You know, you can always call us and come by and see us. But Alan Beauchamp will be back very soon. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Wendy Maness on Between the Lines. Bye.